Hello and welcome to Nic's Nerd News. This is where you come to listen to breaking news when it comes to the nerd world. That means we have breaking video game news, movie news, and TV news. If you want to hear about the latest games, the latest movies, and everything else, stick around. Because here's your host, Nick, from a tiny studio in San Diego.
Good afternoon, good evening. Jesus, it is dark out and I am saying good morning. That's how hot it was today. I know I've been talking about the heat. It's literally gotten hotter and hotter every week. How you guys doing? It's me, Nick, your host. This is Nic's Nerd News. We are in deep in August. Deep. I'm not going to say how deep. You get what I mean. Anyway, what are you guys up to? How are you enjoying the summer? Summer's almost over for most people. Kids are back in school, I think, in a lot of places. So that's going on. You guys ready, though? You ready for the fall? I'm ready for the fall. If you hear a fan in the background, though, again, that's because of the heat. But I'm ready for the fall. That means Halloween's almost here. I don't know what I'm going to dress up as this year. But that's a conversation for another day. You guys been watching Gamescom coverage, huh? Biggest week in gaming out of Cologne, Germany. Gamescom, bigger than E3, always was, always will be. Well, E3's dead, so that proves it. Anyway, a lot of big news. I did not see Alien Romulus, but I will have a movie review for you this week, so we got that. Of course, like I said, Gamescom, biggest stories. We are going to talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and the news about it that dropped last night at Opening Night Live for Gamescom, hosted by Jeff Keighley. Craziness. The backyard baseball games are back after a very long, I think it's been 20-year hiatus. People, I'm sure, will be stoked. Nic Cage has been cast as John Madden in a biopic, which strangest casting choice ever. It's up there. It's probably not the strangest now that I think about it, but it's up there for sure. And then a new streaming service is coming in hot, literally, because it's coming from Chick-fil-a. Boy, do we have questions. Those are the top stories. Let's get to the news. Wait 1 second. Before you do that, don't forget to check out nicsnerdnews.com, where you can listen to the show right in your browser, or if you prefer, you can listen to us on the go with every major streaming platform for podcasts. We're on Google Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, all that fun stuff. Also, while you're there, check out our social media tab. We're on every major social media platform as well. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, Discord. Hey, don't forget the Discord. YouTube, like I said. Everything is there. You guys can see all the Instagram posts, everything on the social medias. You can find all of the places we're on, Amazon Music, things like that. Check it out. YouTube is going to be the best place for it, though, I think, if you ask me. Other than that, let's now actually get to the news, shall we? All right, so gaming news. What, we're 2 weeks removed from the outrageous flop? 1 week removed. I don't know why I said 2 weeks. 1 week removed from the flop that was Borderlands 3. And now Bowl, yes, that's how you say his name, the man who has directed some of the worst video game adaptations on the planet. Anyway, yeah, he made Alone in the Dark, other things. He's mocked Eli Roth's Borderlands movies, saying, quote, "Haha, my movies were rated R and made more money than this. Now you wish I directed," unquote. Wow. Really funny, actually. So, that's pretty friggin' wild. Wild. Anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. Activision is working on custom downloads for Call of Duty, so that way you don't have to download 8,000 million gigabytes of data for when the new Call of Duty drops. So you will be able to, hopefully, if they figure it out, different parts of the Call of Duty games separately. So I'm sure it looks like Black Ops 6 might be around 300 gigs or more. While that wasn't the exact number, it is somewhat real. I guess we don't know the official number yet, but I'm sure it will be in the 200s. Like, realistically, it will be in the 200s. EA, before Gamescom, finally gave us a new trailer for Dragon Age The Vile Guard and a new release date. The game will come out on October 31st. Yes, Halloween Day. It is a... What is the 31st? 31st is a Thursday. Game releasing on a Thursday? That's weird. Dragon Age The Vile Guard out October 31st, 2024. A mod that was being made for Modern Warfare 2 is no longer moving forward, as Activision has sent the developers of it a cease and desist letter. So, just literally the day before it was supposed to come out. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered mod H2M, which was going to bring back the original Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer on PC, was canceled. The mods team on Twitter announced the news, saying, quote, "Today our team members received a cease and desist order on behalf of Activision Publishing in relation to the H2M mod project. We are complying with this order and shutting down all operations immediately and permanently," unquote. Which is very interesting. FaZe Clan has stepped up to defend them, asking Activision to, try and bring it back. Hidden Xperia himself tweeted something about it. Several other big Call of Duty creators. What's interesting, though, is did this come from Activision buyout or post buyout? And if this is a Microsoft decision, which would be interesting in itself. We do finally have an idea of what the cease and desist order was about, claiming that Activision claims it would take away from the internal development teams for Call of Duty, which would be very interesting of a take. That is very, very, very interesting. That's the most ridiculous take I've heard. Watchful Wolf, who was the project lead and the person who had received the cease and desist letter from Activision, put up a YouTube video saying, quote, "Essentially because of the popularity of H2M was gaining and how close it is to Black Ops 6 releasing and the marketing in the beta, they did not want H2M interfering with possible sales of Black Ops 6, unquote," is what he said in the video. Well, obviously we know they didn't say that specifically. You can kind of guess what they were going for. Not cool. Not cool at all. Meanwhile, they let, Bethesda and Xbox let the London Fallout London mod go through, and that's friggin' huge. So, I don't know. It's a weird world we're living in these days. Bungie has apologized for deleting everyone's names in Destiny 2. Yeah, I don't know. In a couple different tweets, they said, quote, "Hey all, we have identified the issue that was forcing a high number of Bungie name changes. We have applied a server-side change to prevent the issue from impacting accounts moving forward. We are continuing to investigate options to address player accounts that were impacted. This will take some time as our path forward will be dependent on fixing the underlying issue," unquote. So they don't know when it will be fixed. Wow, I don't understand how they would take how a name, people's names were deleted essentially. That's very strange. Very, very strange indeed. But at least they're aware of it. They apologized. We'll see what they actually do about it. Meta has announced that they are indefinitely delaying their VR remake of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas as they move and focus on other projects. Indefinitely delayed essentially means canceled, folks, if you didn't know. After last week's announcement that Tango Gameworks was being purchased by Krafton, we have learned that about 50 developers that worked at Tango, 50 of the 100 employees of Tango Gameworks, oh, that's actually a small studio. They were going to close a studio of 100 people? Anyway, about 50 of them will be moving over to Krafton via Steven Totillo on Twitter. He's a games journalist. He used to work for Kotaku. I forget who he works for now. Either Polygon or The Verge, if I remember correctly. No. He works for Axios and... he works at GameFile now. What is that? He used to work at MTV News? That's cool. What is GameFile? Is that the one that the Kotaku people started? I think it is. Hold on. Or GameFile's just him. Okay, so he went fully independent. Anyway, Steven Totillo, he was reporting that they are transferring the staff to Krafton's Japanese subsidiary. They'll continue to work on new projects as well as Hi-Fi Rush expansion at Krafton. So we'll see what ends up going on with the rest of the staff. Epic Games Store, which they've won multiple lawsuits about, is now available as a separate download on mobile devices if you so wish to choose to play that way. Here's some interesting news. Quantic Dream's Star Wars game has lost its lead writer. I'm sure many of you have forgotten about this game, as I did. And Star Wars Eclipse is what it's called. And remember, it's being made by Quantic Dream, David Cage, who's had some issues as of late. The Gamer reports that Adam Williams posted via LinkedIn he was leaving the studio to form his own. He was the lead writer on Detroit Become Human before becoming the lead writer on Star Wars Eclipse. So, when is that game coming out? I feel like it's not coming out anymore. Ubisoft continues the game industry layoffs. This is a small layoff, though. They are cutting 45 jobs across all of their U.S. offices, and reported via Bloomberg and then confirmed by IGN. 45 staff across San Francisco, North Carolina, I guess just those two studios. So Ubisoft said in a quote, yesterday, Ubisoft San Francisco and Red Storm Entertainment informed their teams of restructuring that resulted in 45 employees leaving Ubisoft. This difficult yet necessary decision was made to align these studios' organizations with their future businesses and development objectives. We are committed to providing comprehensive support to those affected, including severance and career assistance, and we thank them for their many contributions to Ubisoft, unquote. It's not a lot, but that is interesting for sure. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they all land new jobs. So, HBO is about ready to launch the second season of The Last of Us sometime in the near future. And now we've learned that via the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, Isabella Merced was talking about Caitlin Dever, who plays Abby in both the game and the show, had to have additional protection during filming because people hate the character so much from the games. I guess a lot of people in the community have expressed hatred for the character, sent death threats. Oh, sorry, Laura Bailey played her in the game. Caitlin Devers playing her in the show. People sent death threats to Laura Bailey during the game, after the game came out, which is wild. You don't send death threats to the actress, people. Hey, you don't send death threats to an actor playing the character either. Like, that is not them. People have a weird problem, disassociating an actor from the character they play. They're not always the character they play. Like, that's not... Their job is to pretend to be those people. They are not those people. The fact that happens in the year 2024 is ridiculous. People are dumb. So a fighting game that came out 30-something years ago called Eternal Champions from Sega is getting a movie adaptation. I've never even heard of this game. That was strange. I don't... Wow, got a sequel? It sold well? But then Sega decided to focus on Virtua Fighter. What? I don't understand. I've never even seen videos or pictures of this game. Okay, we need to stop. We need to stop developing movies based on obscure properties. The new relaunch of Pokemon trading card games for mobile, called Pokemon TCG Pocket, finally has a release date. It will come out next 2 months in October. This is essentially a mobile version of the popular physical trading card game. A new game that will take place in the Monsterverse and be canon to the Monsterverse and introduce a new Titan is coming out, called Kong Survivor Instinct. Will feature King Kong from the Monsterverse. Will feature Tiamat, one of the monsters killed by Godzilla in Godzilla Kong, and a new Titan named Abaddon, if you're into the Monsterverse. Nintendo had a Direct this week that didn't announce anything new other than a new museum based on Nintendo. And it will be opening in Kyoto, featuring just about everything from the company's storied history. If you didn't know, Nintendo is over 100 years old. They have not always made video games. Black Myth Wukong finally launched yesterday on PS5 and PC, coming soon to Xbox, and has become one of the most played games on Steam as a single-player game. I feel like every game this happens, right, lately. It has overtaken Palworld to become the second most played game on Steam ever. It is the most single-player played game on Steam ever. I don't know if it can overtake PUBG. So it had a concurrent player total of 2.223 million people on Steam, which beat Palworld, which had a concurrent of 2.1 earlier in the year. Now, will it dethrone PUBG, which PUBG had a peak of 3.257 million? So, that's wild. Congrats to Black Myth Wukong. Good on ya. Good on you. That's good. For a single-player game to hit that many, that's awesome. Heck yeah. And what is the most wholesome news in gaming this week? Backyard Sports is coming back. Pablo Sanchez, you're wanted on the mound. What's funny is I know an actual Pablo Sanchez. We haven't spoken in a very long time. We went to college together. But I know an actual Pablo Sanchez. Yes, Playground Productions, who owns the IP, they will be reviving the series in the coming months, but no word yet on in what capacity. And they might bring it to film, TV, and merchandise. So be on the lookout as more stuff from the Backyard franchise is coming. Legacy of Kain is getting a prequel comic. Its Kickstarter just launched, if you guys are big fans of the Legacy of Kain franchise. The game director behind Final Fantasy XVI is predicting a future that all Final Fantasy games will launch on PC day one with their console counterparts. That is news and joy for a lot of gamers, that's for sure. And then Wes Ball, who is currently leading the Legend of Zelda film as director, has tapped his next video game adaptation, Ruiner, from the Devolver Digital owned IP. And then, of course, our biggest news in gaming, and there's some other things too we're going to talk about as we go on, is everything announced at Opening Night Live for Gamescom, hosted by Jeff Keighley. There were 60 games shown off, essentially. I'm just going to run down the list and what I thought was really cool, and I'll expound on it, things like that. So, first game announced, Borderlands 4 is official. We kind of joked about Randy Pitchford teasing it last week. Borderlands 4 is real and is coming in 2025. We got a new look at the Black Ops 6 campaign, which shows off its 90s era espionage campaign. Goat Simulator is getting remastered and featured a trailer that had Easter eggs to major game franchises. The original Goat Simulator is back. Dying Light is getting a new entry in the franchise. Dying Light the Beast, no release date was announced. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is coming out on October 11th. That is the next Tenkaichi, I think is the style game in the Dragon Ball franchise. You know what's funny is the Gamescom trailer, because Gamescom is in Cologne, Germany, if you didn't know. The Gamescom trailer features the Japanese voiceover artists, whereas the American trailer features the American cast. And if that isn't just a sign of how stubborn Americans are at learning other languages, I just, that's funny to me. King of Meat is a new game being published by Amazon. It is a dungeon runner, is the best way I can describe it. You can create dungeons, and 4-player co-op will allow you to try and race through the dungeons and get to the end. Linked Banner of Spark is a new RPG coming that looked okay. Lost Record, Bloom and Rage, the new game from Don't Nod, will release its first chapter on February 18th. No More Room in Hell got a new trailer. Arc Raiders got a confirmed release date of 2025. Or release time frame, I should say. Infinity Nikki will be having a beta soon. You can sign up now for it. Path of Exile 2 announced early access will begin November 15th. 40K Space Marine 2, Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2 will release on September 9th. Finally has a release date. Dune Awakening, the new survival MMO, finally got some gameplay set on Arrakis. That game is due out sometime next year. You can build guilds, play with friends, all that kind of stuff. Reanimal is the next game from the Little Nightmares team and looks fucking weird. Genshin Impact is finally getting an Xbox release, but not until November. November 20th, Genshin Impact, one of the most popular games on the planet, will finally have an Xbox release. New trailer for Monster Hunter Wilds. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, the new game in the fighting game franchise, has a release date, April 24th, 2025. Monument Valley 3 was announced. It will be releasing December 10th, exclusively on Netflix games. Mecha Break showed off its new mecha gameplay. Mecha High, Mecha Heiny Ho, Mecha Break. Civilization 7 got a full gameplay reveal along with a release date. It will be releasing on console and PC day and date, and will feature Gwendolyn Christie as the narrator of the game. She is not the first Game of Thrones actor to be the narrator in a Civilization game. It will release on February 11th. And it is being reported that it will be the first game in the franchise in a while that will be beginner-friendly. Starfield news. A free update with essentially a space buggy has been released for all players. Finally be able to traverse planets much faster than walking or being impacted by weight. And we finally got a release date for the expansion, which will release on September 30th. Marvel Rivals, which is the Overwatch clone, will finally release this December. A new animated anthology show from Tim Miller, who created Blur Studios, created Love, Death, and Robots, directed the first Deadpool film, announced his new show, Secret Level. Like I said, will be an anthology series, and it will feature 15 episodes, all based on different gaming franchises. So, like I said, it will premiere on Amazon Prime Video December 10th, and features episodes about God of War in a PlayStation Studios episode. The image showed Kratos in like a modern city, which interesting. It will feature an episode based around Sifu, Warhammer 40k, specifically Space Marine 2, New World Eternum, which is an Amazon Studios game, Dungeons and Dragons. You got to see that like 5-headed dragon. I think that's Tiamat, isn't it? The Outer Worlds, or Outer Worlds 2, we're not sure which game in the franchise. Pac-Man, of all things. Honor of Kings, Armored Core, which looks to feature Keanu Reeves. Mega Man, Exodus, Spelunky, Crossfire, and Concord. All interesting choices. But that show looks cool, based on the little snippets that we got to see. Towerborn, the upcoming Xbox exclusive for console, will be getting a early access release on Steam as a timed Steam release on September 10th, and coming to Xbox soon. Age of Mythology Retold got a new gameplay trailer and more gameplay information. That releases next month. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was shown off gameplay and given a release time frame of 2025. Batman Arkham Shadow, the new VR game, will be a direct sequel to Batman Arkham Origins and will feature the return of Roger Craig Smith as the voice of Batman Bruce Wayne. Little Nightmares 3 got a trailer. Masters of Albion, a new game from Peter Molyneux, is a new godlike game where you play as like the god. It looks like a city builder, kind of, but you can also take over like the NPCs. I don't know how to describe the game. Squid Games Unleashed, a new game based on Squid Game, will come to Netflix Games, or puts you in the competition. Arena Breakout Infinite will have a full release sometime later this year after being an early release. Unknown 9 Awakening, a new game from Bandai Namco, releases in October. Looks really cool. You play this girl who can go to like another realm, I guess, but you can, like, her spirit can leave her body and you can take over like NPCs and stuff, and it helps you traverse. It looks cool based on what little they showed. I didn't know if it was gameplay, though, or if it was a vertical slice or something, but it looks interesting. World of Warcraft, War Within, early access starts on the 26th before the game comes out, and along with that, a new Warcraft Direct was announced by Blizzard. They also showed off new Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred gameplay and trailer for the new DLC. The first Berserker, Kazun, is coming out next year. That looks like an interesting RPG. A new Mafia game was announced, this time called Mafia: The Old Country. It will be set in Sicily, what I call the Motherland, as my family is from Sicily. And will be set during 1900. 2K and Hangar 13, the developers, did follow up with a tweet saying, quote, "Authenticity is at the heart of Mafia franchise, and Mafia: The Old Country will offer voice acting in Sicilian in line with the game's setting in 1900 Sicily. Additionally, Italian language localization will be available for both in-game UI and via subtitles." So, if you didn't know, Sicilian is a dialect of Italian. It is a little different. It is not the same for everything. I usually don't care about the Mafia franchise. I've never really been interested in them. I tried the first game. I do not like it. However, just the fact that this is set in Sicily is having me extremely interested. Like I said, it's set in Sicily, Italy. It will... That's funny. Someone said it won't have Italian. It won't have Italian voice acting, but it will have Sicilian voice acting, which is again, if you don't know, they're different. They're different dialects. And what I think is the biggest news to come out of opening night live is finally have a release date for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, the upcoming Indiana Jones game from Machine Games and Bethesda. What was once thought to be, it will release, before I get ahead of myself, it will release on December 9th on Xbox and Steam. And what was once thought to be an Xbox exclusive is now coming to PlayStation with a spring release. And everyone's kind of freaking out. Oh, well, was that like a month then on Xbox? No, okay? Spring can mean it could come out at the end of May, okay? So here's my thing. And I'm not actually upset about this in the same way I would be if it was Halo or Forza, which is also being rumored. But we'll get to that in a second because Phil Spencer did open up about it. And so people are obviously not happy about it. Pentiment, Grounded, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves all went to PlayStation, right? Hi-Fi Rush isn't their IP anymore, so technically only 3. This will be the 4th. Doom: The Dark Ages will go to PS5. We know that. Which, again, Doom, whatever. It's been an all franchise always. So Phil had this to say, quote, "Our franchises are getting stronger. Our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been. So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. It's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery we have to give back to the company because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing and what we're able to go do. So I look at this. How can we make our games as strong as possible? Our platform continues to grow on console, on PC, and on cloud. It's just going to be a strategy that works for us. The last thing I'll say, as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow. Us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed, that's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But the end result has to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. So for us, as Xbox, health of our platform, and our growing games, most important things, unquote. So here's the thing. Indiana Jones is a character I do not think should be held to one specific console. And that is because Indiana Jones is a timeless character, right? It's the same thing with Spider-Man being on PlayStation only, and I get it. Sony owns Insomniac. Xbox owns Machine Games. Sony technically doesn't have to put Spider-Man or the upcoming Wolverine on PlayStation only. Yes, they could. Business decision, 100%. And I'm not asking them to. They should, but I'm not asking them to. Is it frustrating that Xbox is losing exclusives? Of course, right? People feel betrayed. People are angry. They're like, why did I buy this box if I don't need it? I could have just bought PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. I get it, 100%. Some people can only buy one box, right? And the people that buy Xbox only are understandably upset. I get it. But a character like this, realistically, should be for everyone. And I get it. And maybe there's some downward pressure from Lucasfilm, right? We don't know. But again, this is one thing I'm not upset because, again, it's Indiana Jones. I think it should be for everything. Same goes for the whatever happens with the Star Wars KOTOR remake. That should not be an exclusive, okay? And I know the original was an Xbox exclusive, and the remake is going to be a PlayStation exclusive. Personally, when it comes to major franchises like that, I really just don't like those things being limited to one console. Major franchises owned by said game makers, different, right? Halo should be Xbox only. Forza, Xbox only. Gran Turismo, God of War, Xbox only. Stuff or PlayStation only. Horizon Zero Dawn, PlayStation only. But Horizon Zero Dawn, the Horizon franchise, now has an interesting conundrum, right? With the upcoming Lego version. That's going to be on Switch, but not Xbox. Very interesting. Throw some bones, Sony. I know you're in the lead. You don't have to. But, be consumer friendly, because that's what you always get accused of not being. Again, it's a very interesting time. Indiana Jones going to PlayStation, Doom going to PlayStation are not the death knell that I think everyone thinks they are. Pentiment and Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush going, they were timed exclusive. That's fine. Sea of Thieves have been out like 5 or 6 years at that point. Like, okay, we're good. Hi-Fi Rush, now it's not even their IP anymore. It was a year. Pentiment, small game. I don't think that was a console seller. So, I know I'm making excuses here. I'm not, because I do not want to see Halo on PlayStation ever. But that's my take on it. That's my feeling on it. Indiana Jones as a character, I think, should be on all platforms. Some more news then out of Gamescom Day 1. Obviously, 9 hours ahead over in Germany, right? So, we're almost to Day 2 at this point. But we did learn some news about Game Pass and what happens with and how some games will not be released Day 1, even if they are Xbox Game Studios games. So Microsoft has clarified that if you are a subscriber to the Game Pass standard tier, you will not see games Day 1. Sometimes up to a full year, sometimes even longer after launch. In a new Xbox Wire post, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate players will continue to see brand new experiences launch on the service, no additional cost on Day 1. But some people in the standard tier will wait up to 12 months or more to see certain games and certain titles arrive. Via Xbox Wire officially says, quote, some games coming to Game Pass Ultimate, Day 1 games or other game entries will not be immediately available with Game Pass Standard and may be added to the library at a future date. Can be up to 12 months or more and will vary by title. We'll continue to share with all Game Pass members when games are being added and available to play for each plan, unquote. Yee. I get it. That's their cheapest option. It's like an ad. It's like an ad tier on a streaming service. Standard will cost, so core will be $9 a month. Standard will be $15 a month. PC will be $11.99 a month. And Ultimate, which is PC and Xbox, will be $19.99 a month. Over $5? I can understand. Well, Core has an even smaller list of Game Pass titles. Very interesting. Is Game Pass going to be worth the cost still? Will it be worth the cost? Xbox also announced via Wire post that the new versions of the Xboxes will release on October 18th and are available for pre-order. That includes the all-digital, all-white Xbox Series X, the new white 2 terabyte Series or 1 terabyte Series S, and the new, I don't know how to describe that color. I forget what they call it. The 2 terabyte Series X, which will cost $600, has like the droplets of like green and white and stuff on it. I think Galaxy something. I don't normally talk about politics on this show, but I think this is a fun story. Tim Walz, who is the current vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, is a gamer, apparently. I'm not fully throwing support behind anyone right now. I'm just telling this story. A new story came out that I guess, so he plays Dreamcast, which man knows his games. You don't have to agree with everything this man says, nor do you have to agree with anything he believes in, but the fact that he plays Dreamcast shows you he is a gamer. And which is funny, but Obama had a Wii? I don't remember that. Anyway, he talked about a story in which he was playing one of his favorite games and his wife had to turn the console off. And IGN somehow found his Dreamcast. So I don't know. Apparently a former student said that he used to share, quote, unusually relatable stories, unquote, like the time his wife had seized his Dreamcast because he had been playing to excess. And apparently it was Crazy Taxi he was playing. Yeah. Day after day. So IGN learned via Reset Era, user Bryn Tanner on Reset Era forum said that back in 2018 on the platform, said, quote, "Oh, I bought a Dreamcast for $25 back in 2012 from one of his former high school students who worked on his campaign. Waltz was just like, hey, we have this old video game thing. Do you want it? And the guy took it," unquote. So look at that. They found it because some dude bought it at a garage sale. Anyway, it goes deeper. They interview some people that worked on his staff back in the day. It's an interesting read if you guys want to check it out. But that would be cool. An actual gamer in the White House. I don't think we've ever had a true gamer. Obviously, gaming hasn't been around that long, and most people that run for office are older and probably did not grow up playing video games. Given Tim Walz's age, again, he's a little outside the normal gaming range. Obama bringing a Wii doesn't count. That was for his daughters. Come on. I don't think we'll have a true gamer president until at least the next one. When we maybe finally get a Gen X president. I don't know. I'm not endorsing him. Again, that's not an endorsement. That's just it's a fun, interesting story. Gamescom Day 1 was today, of course, and we got some interesting trailers. I'm trying to find everything. Gamescom coverage is hard if you don't want to sit and watch hours of live streams. Some of the games, at least today, that were announced that I thought were cool. Starship Troopers Extermination, a new game set in the Starship Troopers universe with Casper Van Dien returning to play Johnny Rico. Xbox announced a new adaptive joystick for their adaptive controller for those who are gamers with disabilities. Stalker 2 showed off gameplay. Revenge of the Savage Planet got a new trailer and gameplay. Avowed, the upcoming Xbox game that was recently delayed and will come from Obsidian, will have double-digit ending options. That many endings. That's cool. That's a fun RPG. Crimson Desert, the MMO, got a lot of news and trailers shown off. And what I think might be the coolest game announced, and this is just the final bit of gaming news here today, Mars Attracts, a new park management sim set in the Mars Attacks IP. Yes, it's called Mars Attracts, and it will be a park management sim that you build a theme park on Mars, capturing humans, putting them up as like a zoo on Mars, as you are the Martians, the ones that famously attacked Earth in the 1990s film Mars Attacks, which I know it's not a great movie, but I love it. It has a special place in my heart. That's it for gaming news. We'll have more Gamescom coverage next week, of course. Star Wars Outlaws releases in a week and a half, so that coverage won't start for quite some time. I am hoping to get a review copy of that game. But anyway, yeah, that's it for gaming. Let's head up on the 5 freeway and see what's going on in Hollywood, shall we? All right, not a whole lot coming out of Hollywood this week, surprisingly. You'd think August would have a lot of news. It doesn't. Anyway, we finally know who will be playing Teela in Amazon's upcoming Masters of the Universe adaptation. She will be played by Camila Mendes of Riverdale fame. The co-writer of Logan says that, Deadpool and Wolverine does not trample on Logan. Saying Logan co-writer Michael Green said he was cool with what they did, saying, quote, "People had warned me ahead of time. I don't know if you're going to feel how you're going to feel about the opening of Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm like, I think I know what's going to happen. And I did not know. I didn't know they were going to go that far. You weren't meant to take seriously that they were like digging him up and that it was really him. It felt less like they were trying to change the ending of Logan as they were contending with not feeling that they wanted to make a movie as good as they felt Logan was, which is a huge compliment. I felt like it was nothing but complimentary. That movie's such a good time. I mean, when we saw it in a full theater, people went bananas to everything. It's great. It's a great franchise. Like, more, please. You know what I appreciate even more was no Green Lantern jokes, because I was partly responsible. You gotta wear it with a badge of honor," unquote. Look at that, man. So, there you go. Stamp of approval from Logan, co-writer. In also major news, Matthew Perry's murderers, if you will, have been sentenced. So 5 people have been charged in the death of Matthew Perry, who died earlier this year from a ketamine overdose. 3 of the people were 2 doctors and Perry's personal assistant. So he died last year. Holy shit, has it been that long? Oh my God. He died in October at the age of 54 due to the acute effects of anesthetic ketamine, and was found face down in his hot tub, of course, last year. He was going ketamine infusion therapy to treat depression and anxiety. Man, such a loss, man. Matthew Perry, such a light on the world. In a new 18-count indictment, alleges that 5 individuals are responsible for his death. 1, a North Hollywood drug dealer named Jasveen Sangha, who sold allegedly the ketamine to Perry's assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa. by using a syringe obtained from Dr. Salvador Plasencia. Iwamasa then injected Perry with ketamine received from Sangha multiple times on the day Perry died. Iwamasa has pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine. Sangha and Plasencia have been arrested. That's crazy. Plasencia also distributed ketamine, quote, outside of the usual course of professional practice and without a legitimate medical purpose on at least 7 occasions, unquote. Wow. Dr. Mark Chavez has also agreed to plead guilty on one count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine and admitted to selling Matthew Perry ketamine. An acquaintance of Perry's, Eric Fleming, has pleaded guilty to distributing the ketamine that killed Perry, having first received it from Sangha. That's, you know what? I hope they all rot in hell. That's for damn sure. Nicolas Cage has been cast as John Madden in an upcoming biopic from David O. Russell. Amazon MGM's biopic movie, again directed by David O. Russell, will star Nicolas Cage as the titular John Madden, according to Deadline. It will follow the story of John Madden as he went from coach of the Oakland Raiders to the face of the Madden NFL video game franchise and then sports commentator. That's crazy. David O. Russell said in a quote, Nicolas Cage, one of our greatest and most original actors, will portray the best of the American spirit of originality, fun, and determination in which anything is possible as beloved national legend John Madden. Together with the ferocious style, focus, and inspired individualism of Al Davis, owner of the underdog Oakland Raiders, the feature will be about the joy, humanity, and genius that was John Madden in a widely inventive, cool world of the 1970s, unquote. Now, here's a guy. Now, here's a guy. Whoop. Interesting. Deadpool and Wolverine has now become the highest grossing rated R film of all time. Are we surprised? We're not. It has made over $1 billion. I think it's probably at $1.1 billion at this point. Let's take a look. The story had it at 1.085, which is just shy of 1.1 billion, obviously. So let's see. Oh, okay, yeah. Via Box Office Mojo, it is now at $1.151 billion. It has grossed $553 million domestically and $597.9 million internationally. Obviously on its way to continue making more and more and more money. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. It's a great movie. People love it. That's via Box Office Mojo. I'm going to talk a little bit about this. We're finally getting more information in regards to the X-Men 97 showrunner, Bo DeMaio, who was fired unceremoniously before the first season even premiered, and is now claiming that his credits on season 2 have been removed. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this. If you guys want to know more, New Rockstars actually did a great video on YouTube about the situation. This man has done some egregious things, if we are to believe it. Yeah, man. He claims it's over a Pride Month post, even though apparently he had an OnlyFans, has an OnlyFans, which, wild. More and more people, man. It's getting more and more commonplace at this point. Him and his lawyer are firing off about the fan art and the post on Pride Month. Disney is claiming that there were sexual assault allegations and egregious events in regards to sexual harassment and things like that. Honestly, man, if even a fraction of it is true, go away. And it has nothing to do with him being gay or having an OnlyFans. If you like sexually harassed people or sexually assaulted people in any way and are not owning up to it, you got to go, man. You got to go. If you can't own up to it and apologize and accept that what you did is wrong and try to better yourself, you got to go. You got to go. You got to go. I mean, there's a situation that I was involved in once, and we handled it amicably. I think, at least it seemed that way. Work was fully aware. It was handled via work. Things went on. That situation was handled and resolved because I owned up to it. The girl accepted my apology, and we moved on with our lives. Okay? If you can't own up to what you did, and you cannot, admit you're at fault and are trying to blame them for being anti-gay, which accusing Disney of being anti-gay is the most outlandish thing ever, then you need to, take a look in the mirror. Now, again, this is all alleged, and I could be just being flat out wrong and accusatory, which could also be true. But as it stands, we don't know the full truth. But if a fraction of that is, you gotta go, man. You cannot be a showrunner and you can't be high profile and do that, man. You can't. You just can't. You can't be anyone and do it if you won't own up to it. If you own up to it and apologize and work through it and do all that, I'm willing to give you a second chance. And a lot of people would be willing to give you a second chance. But if you can't own up to it and you go chugging along blaming everybody else, you might be the problem. Just saying. If you guys want to know more, like I said, New Rockstars on YouTube has a great video breakdown of it. Anyway, moving on. No surprise here, Alien Romulus won the weekend with a $108 million debut. I hope to see the movie soon. It does take place between the first Alien film and its sequel, Aliens, out now in theaters, directed by Fede Alvarez. Tamura Morrison, Boba Fett himself, has come out and said that he will not be in the Mandalorian and Grogu film, which I kind of wasn't expecting him to be. Just saying. He is blaming it on the poor response to the Book of Boba Fett, which I don't understand why people don't like that show. Saying, quote, "This show's reception does seem to have impacted the future of the character in the franchise," unquote. All right. That quote makes me not happy. Boba Fett used to be one of the most popular characters in Star Wars. And the man had like 5 seconds of screen time. Okay, it was more than that, but you know what I mean. Right? One of the most popular characters in the franchise with less than 10 minutes of screen time. And then the prequels came out and we learned more about Jango, his father, and Boba himself. Boba got more stuff in the Clone Wars. He's continued to get a little bit more backstory, more information, great stuff. And then Lucasfilm, under Disney, decided to create The Mandalorian. And don't get me wrong, great show. I love seeing more Mando stuff. And we didn't know if Boba was alive in the new canon, right? It had been teased, but we didn't know. Then we got him showing up in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Then we got the Book of Boba Fett, which, not a perfect show, but fun. And seeing him interact with sand people and things like that, like a bantha, right? And I know Tamura wasn't super happy about it, which I get. But, and people, like, hated on it for ridiculous reasons, like the Acolyte. And if Disney and Lucasfilm don't do more with Boba Fett, people will be more mad than they were about how the Book of Boba Fett turned out. So, figure it out. I don't necessarily need Boba Fett in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I don't. Boba Fett can go have his own adventures. I prefer that we get a second season of Boba Fett, which they should do. Just saying. Just saying. You teased it, essentially. Let's get it. Let's get it, please. The fedora worn by Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom recently sold at auction for $630,000. Rich people have too much money. I mean, I would have bought it too, even though I don't like the Temple of Doom. But, you know, it's Harrison Ford's fedora. Michael Keaton was interviewed recently and was asked about the cancellation of Batgirl and never coming out by GQ. And essentially he said, "No, I don't care one way or another. Big, fun, nice check. I like those boys. They're nice guys. I pull for them. I want them to succeed, and I think they felt very badly, and that made me feel bad. Me, I'm good," unquote. He still got paid, so he doesn't really care. He's an actor. I mean, yeah, he's upset if movies don't come out or not, but he's not as invested in Batman and Batgirl as we all thought he might be. It's kind of funny, actually. But all good, man. It's all good. I'm cool with it. I wish the movie came out, but here we are. Switching over to the new DC, James Gunn has opened up about why he wrapped filming on Superman so early, and said it has to do with giving the VFX artist more time. I respect that. Saying, quote, "If you do some research, you'll see my films have always taken a different approach, and I've always given my VFX artist collaborators time to do their jobs properly and the respect they deserve. And the quality of the VFX in those films is uniformly great because of it. And because my friends at Weta and Framestone and ILM and more are amazingly talented," unquote. So, he then followed up saying, quote, "This is why we wrapped on Superman a year before release and why they've been hard at work on many shots for months before that. This is why we start heartily editing during the shoot. It's why I prepare so vigorously and why we only shoot finished screenplays. And Supergirl, which I'm not directing, is being handled the same way. I can't praise the VFX artists that help us create magic enough," unquote. So, that's good. Thank you, James Gunn, because lately big budget VFX movies seem to have worse CGI than lower budget movies. Take The Creator. Movie was made for like under $100 million and looked amazing. Look at Godzilla -1. Yes, it's not the best VFX, but for its small budget, it looks and feels better than some Marvel movies do. And I'm going to talk about a movie later that, while not, I guess would be more mid-budget now, but still technically high budget, looks amazing. So I'm all for giving VFX artists more time, especially on a superhero movie, especially on a DC movie after whatever the fuck happened with The Flash. Oh, man. A new prequel series based on the Pacific Rim franchise is coming, which has me very excited. Lionsgate has announced. It's in early development. I'm all for it. Learning more about the kaiju as they come through. The Acolyte has essentially been canceled by Lucasfilm. While Lucasfilm is yet to officially say it's canceled. Disney's already removed its merchandise from their website. Toxic fans are complaining, or rejoicing. Regular fans are not necessarily upset, but they're not exactly happy either, because the show had a lot of potential. I've talked about it a lot. I think it had a smear campaign ran against it. when you compare it to Andor, which had a larger budget and just barely more viewers, you kind of sit and wonder, why did the Acolyte get canceled? Because there's a lot of payoff that we could have had, right? Now that Darth Plagueis cameo means nothing. I think it was a smear campaign led by a lot of people, including Star Wars Theory and a lot of other creators who just shat on it. And now there's conversations being had about the current TV marketplace and how things are being canceled all the time and not given proper wings. And there's so many things to be said about what happened with the Acolyte. Yes, it had low viewership, but a lot of other things have less viewership and get renewed. So it was review bombed partly. There was a steep drop off in viewership, which I can understand. The show's not perfect in any way, and I'm not saying it was an amazing show. It wasn't amazing. It was serviceable, which with Star Wars, you can't always have serviceable, right? And there's been a lot of hits and misses across Star Wars. Is it the worst Star Wars show? God, no. Star Wars Resistance was even worse. Hopefully, and because people are already shitting on Star Wars Skeleton Crew before it's even out, I want the franchise to evolve and do new things. But when you have a group of the fandom that are just shit on everything that comes out, how can you move forward? How can you progress? Okay? George doesn't give a shit anymore, people. Stop saying it's not what George would have done. We don't know what George would have done. And y'all hated what he did anyway. Now, 20 years later, with hindsight, you all are agreeing with the choices he made. Stop. Okay? We need to just... I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Just bash it in good faith on what's bad, like the editing and some of the writing, which again, season 1 growing pains, on some of the pacing. These are things you should judge it on, not on its canonicity or a character showing up or a color of a lightsaber. Like, I don't want to waste any more breath on the Acolyte anymore. Ian McKellen has vowed to keep acting despite the fall he had earlier this year. He needs to keep telling himself, he said, quote, "I'm not too old to act," unquote, after, again, falling off stage back in June. Told Saga magazine, the 85-year-old, while he is not yet fully recovered, the emotional damage is just as bad, saying, quote, "I started screaming, 'Help me,' and then, 'I'm sorry, I don't do this.' I thought it was the end of something. It was very upsetting. I have to keep assuring myself that I'm not too old to act, and it was just a bloody accident. The more I tried to get rid of it, the faster I proceeded down a step onto the forestage and then on the lap of someone in the front row. I've had a very lucky escape," unquote, he added. "I'm hoping he can show up in the Hunt for Golem movie as Gandalf, as he should appear as Gandalf." This is the strangest news I've ever read. Chick-fil-a is launching a streaming platform. Yes, Chick-fil-a. This is via Deadline. They are aggressively moving into the entertainment space for original content. They are already in talks with major production companies via Deadline, saying, quote, "including some of the studios to create family-friendly shows, particularly in the unscripted space," unquote. It's also considering licensing and acquiring content, also via Deadline. They want to launch it later this year. Holy crap. They already have a game show greenlit. What's going on? What is going on? Chick-fil-A has not commented publicly on it. Lyft, Airbnb also wanting to get into the original content game. Stop. Everyone needs to stop. Everyone needs to fucking stop. There's too many streaming services. There's too much content. They're not making money because there's too many. There's too many things being made. There's not enough time in the day or the year for all this content to be consumed. If you want millions of viewers, you can't have this many things being out there. There's not enough eyeballs to watch it all. Oh my God. Stop. Everyone needs to stop. Right now. Oh my God. The jokes about it are great. Someone tweeted, and it's a Chick-fil-A original movie, Liz, unquote, as if it was from Jenna on 30 Rock. Will it be open on Sundays? Everyone needs to stop. Companies that are not involved in entertainment should not be having a streaming service. Chick-fil-A, Airbnb, Lyft. Y'all should not have a streaming service. Why? Focus on one thing. The tech industry breaks things that are, tries to fix things that aren't broken. Jesus Christ. No, Chick-fil-A. No. 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 A new trailer came out today for Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, and was quickly pulled from online after they found out that it was using fake quotes. The new trailer featured what were thought to be quotes criticizing Francis Ford Coppola movies of the past, which there is some history to support these claims. However, the actual quotes themselves were not real, which Vulture spotted this. Every quote in the trailer is misattributed at best and fabricated at worst. Completely. Lionsgate issued the following statement to Variety saying, quote, Lionsgate is immediately recalling our trailer for Megalopolis. We offer sincere apologies to the critics involved and to Francis Ford Coppola and American Zoetrope for this inexcusable error in our vetting process. We screwed up and we are sorry, unquote. Interesting. Vulture says that one of the critics most prominently featured in the trailer was the New Yorker's Pauline Kael, is quoted as saying, quote, about The Godfather, quote, was diminished by its artsiness, unquote. Google doesn't have a record of anyone using that phrase before today, and Kael loved The Godfather and The Godfather 2, based on her reviews. The Voice's Andrew Sarris was less effusive on The Godfather, but he didn't say that, saying, quote, doesn't know what it wants to be, as the trailer claimed. And, yeah, none of the quotes are from actual reviews. Oh, God, hopefully they didn't use AI. Jesus Christ. That's sad. That is really sad. Get it together, Lionsgate. A new Anaconda movie may be in the works, but this time a big budget one. Wait, the first one was. The rest were made for TV slop. The first one, of course, famously had Jon Voight, Ice Cube, and Jennifer Lopez. That movie's so dumb, but I love it. I love watching Anaconda. A new version may be coming to the big screen, but with Paul Rudd and Jack Black starring this time. Via The Hollywood Reporter, they are in talks to star in a reimagining of the 1997 horror film. Interesting. It might be directed by Tom Gormican, who directed The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, that starred Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. And Hollywood Reporter is saying that, quote, the movie involves a group of friends facing midlife crises who are remaking their favorite movie from their youth. They head to the rainforest only to find themselves in a fight for their lives against natural disasters. giant snakes and violent criminals, unquote. So it's a meta film. Lovely. That would be great. That would be great if they referenced the original movie too. Like, there's scenes from it in this one. Please do that. It would make it that much better. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. And finally, I'll do a quick review because the movie's old at this point. I finally got around to watching Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And that was the movie I said looks amazing for having like I guess it's a high budget, even though it was 160 million. I don't know what's high budget and what's not anymore in Hollywood. It's so all over the place. First off, the movie looks gorgeous. The apes look real at certain points. Like it's ridiculous how real and good the CGI is. The movie, on the other hand, wasn't really feeling it for a big chunk of the movie. I don't know what people saw. Yes, the first part of the movie, amazing. The end part of the movie, amazing. Most of the middle of the movie, kind of boring. Barely kept my attention. Pretty looking CGI monkeys only gets you so far. Okay? There was a lot of nonsense in that movie, and I get it. It's the 4th movie in the reboot franchise. It's like the 12th movie overall. They're trying to get to like the old ones again. It was not. I hope they do better on the next one. I get that this movie made a lot of money and a lot of people liked it, and I usually like the movies in the Planet of the Apes franchise. Like, I'm a big Planet of the Apes guy. This movie just was not it, man. No. 6 out of 10. Because, again, the first, half hour and the second half hour, great. Or the last half hour, great. All the middle, there were times where I'm like, how long is this fucking movie? No, not good. Not good. But it's on Hulu, if you guys haven't watched it yet. It's finally on streaming. But that's it for this week. Hopefully you guys have a great week. More Gamescom content next week. Maybe I'll get to Alien Romulus this week or next. I don't know yet. I don't think any other movies are coming out anytime soon. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Don't forget to check out nicksternnews.com.
This has been a production of Nick's Nerd News. Please do not use without implicit faxed permission. And yes, that means with a fax machine.